Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we have the CEO of Athena Gold Corp, John Power. John's joining us today to talk about the recent price action in gold and what's driving investor interest. He's also going to give us an update of what's happening over at Athena from their latest drill program, future plans, and how they're doing their part for the environment. He's also going to let us know what to watch out for with Athena over the near term, so stay tuned. Hey, John, welcome to The Dive. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you too. Yeah, I'm so glad you could join us. Okay, so John, we're starting to hear gold bugs pop up saying things like gold will reach $5,000 by 2026. What is your read on the gold market right now?
I'm optimistic for the rest of this year. I think a couple things are happening. I definitely think we're seeing a peak in interest rates. And so that's certainly going to help things. And that's already starting to be reflected, I think, this week, even as the economy is some of the indicators are kind of more of a soft landing. And so I think interest rates have peaked. So that's certainly positive. I also think eventually, and this is a much bigger catalyst in my mind, it's just a question of when it really plays into the market. And that's just, everybody's talking about it, but just the amount of debt, like especially in the United States and with higher interest rates, the amount of interest, the United States has to pay on their debt. Eventually, hard money and gold have to have a bigger position in the economic system. So I think we all know that's coming. Whether it's going to happen this year or next year, so I always hate to put like some lofty price target on gold. I'm looking for positive momentum in the right direction.
Well, what do you feel are the main drivers of investor interest in gold at the moment?
Yeah, I think that the segment's been a little quiet. I think we need more discoveries and catalysts. And then we also I always feel like the minute gold gets over $2,000 US, that seems to generate a little interest. So I think we're close there. I think getting through the summer, and I'm definitely seeing, more interest every day from, people calling and asking about Athena. So it is happening. It's just a little bit, slower than we'd all like.
Okay, so let's talk a bit more about Athena. You commenced your first 2023 drill program at your Excelsior Springs project in Nevada. What are your objectives on this program? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so basically, so a little recap. We drilled 2 small RC programs last year at Excelsior Springs. And in the first program in March of last year, we intercepted drill hole DB23. We intercepted over 30 meters at over 5 grams gold. So that we consider to be the discovery hole in this new part of Excelsior that we call the Western Slope Zone. So we followed that up in last fall in October, and we drilled a couple short step outs, and and that was 2201 and 2202. And we had some really nice intercepts, high grade, 6 grams. And so over a good long intercept. And so both those holes look good. So what the design of this current program that we just completed was to try to extend the Western Slope Zone, both east and west. And so, we've completed the drill program. Everything went fine. All of the samples are at the lab. So now we're just waiting for, the results from the lab to see exactly where we're able to extend that high grade. And it's also a very shallow zone. I mean, it starts at like 30 meters. So we're really excited. It's just one of many really great targets we have at Excelsior Springs. We have kind of been laser focused on the Western Slope because it is high grade and it is shallow and it is oxide. And we really don't see, we obviously follow all of our peers, and we feel like Excelsior Springs is a really special project. We've had some great results so far, and we're anxious to see what the assay lab returns to us this time.
Could you give us some color on the ownership structure of the Excelsior Springs project?
Yeah, so Athena owns 100% of Excelsior Springs. And when we acquired the property a couple of years ago, I wanted to not get in a position where we had obligations to spend money or to pay money to any third party. So we did a structure where we issued shares of Athena to Nubian Resources, which was the company that had Excelsior Springs before us. And so we issued them 50 million shares. They actually purchased an additional 5 million shares in our last private placement that we did. So Nubian owns, and Nubian's on the TSX. And so they own 55 million shares. Another high net worth individual in the United States owns about 40 million shares, and I have 10 million shares. So it's pretty tightly held amongst those three groups. And so, we trade both on the CSE under the symbol ATHA, but we're also primarily a U.S. company. So we have a lot of U.S. shareholders that trade, on the bulletin board under our U.S. symbol, which is AHNR.
Are there any future plans for collaboration with external partners or contractors?
That's a good question. I mean, we're always have an open mind. We do have some majors that are nearby where we're working. And so we've had some conversations with them. We feel so far we've made the decision. We feel like we can create more value by continuing to pursue the opportunities we have at Excelsior Springs by ourselves. But I'm very much a believer in collaboration. So we're always looking for ideas and good partners if they come along.
Now, there's lots of talk about ESG investing these days, rightly or wrongly. In what ways do you think miners can proactively address the evolving ESG concerns to satisfy investors?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, and it's really important these days. And so we try to be very careful when we're out in the field. I mean, it comes down to, there's kind of like what I look at is there's a macro ESG and what I'd call a micro ESG. The only thing we really can control is what I'd call like the micro ESG, and that's what we're doing in our own backyard. And so that's being very careful with the environment that we're working in, treating it with respect. I literally will pick up garbage out there if I see garbage. It seems silly, but you just want to, take care of that and respect the land.
For sure. Okay, so John, before we let you go here, is there anything that investors should look out for with Athena over the near term?
Yeah, so we're really excited. We are anticipating the assay results from this drill program probably be out sometime in September. So that's a pretty big catalyst for us. We're anxious to get back out in the field again once we have that data in hand. And then we have multiple other exciting drill targets that we're going to be talking about further as the days and weeks go by. So there's a lot happening. And this year is flying by, but we're still expecting a lot of great stuff still yet this year for us.
Okay, sounds great. Well, we'll definitely have to have you back on in September once you get those assay results. John, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
To our audience at home, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoy videos like this, consider hitting that subscribe button below me there so you don't miss out on our next video. Bye.